so much. All right, we have one final speaker. We'll take about a minute after he's done for our 50-50, and then we will let you all speak to the candidates individually. Our final speaker is Daniel Mercuri.
Just give me 1 second here before you start my
I'm not starting yet, man.
Yeah.
You tell me when you're ready. You tell me when you're ready. Oh, don't stall me.
I promise I won't. Okay, ready? Go. Actually, if I sound a little rasp, it's because I was, just as we talked about traveling up and down the state, that was a 10-hour drive yesterday from one location to another. And unfortunately, I don't get to bring my wife with me. We're having a third, so I was really amazed, and I'm like, could we waited a little bit after the tutorial race, but and she asked me, she says, you know, baby, are you gonna say that silly little joke? And I said, of course. And she says, no, don't say it anymore. It's kind of boring and nobody really likes it anymore. I said, okay, but she goes, go ahead and please tell everybody in the room that I am an amazing husband. I know it's a sad joke. I also have to let everybody know in this room too, just so that you understand who I'm accountable to, I am a believer in Jesus Christ, and He is who I'm accountable to. And if you don't like that, you can please go find your safe space, because right now we're living in a generation of self-entitled little turds who all need participation trophies. And I let everybody know, listen, I am a husband, I'm a father, I am a veteran, I served 2 tours, 3 ops, and I am very brash, rough around the edges, and I'm not exactly politically correct. So again, get ready for me to offend you, because that is exactly what my platform is. I'm here to offend you because the truth offends. And prior to that, it was starve the government, feed the people, which is what I still stand on. I'm not here to support the government. I'm here to support the people, because that is exactly what a representative is supposed to be. They are the gatekeepers to our Constitution. They are the gatekeepers to the sanctity of the Constitution, to ensure that you remain above government. So when everybody says, Daniel, are you going to fight for my civil rights? No, I'm not. I don't give a crap about your civil rights. I care about your God-given unalienable rights. There is a significant differences between the two. They are not one and the same. So a lot of people say, Daniel, please slow down. No, you need to speed up, because the left are way ahead of us. And if we don't catch up, we're going to lose our state. So a lot of also people too, you know, they say, Daniel, why would you take on this Goliath? Don't you know what you're doing? And I said, yeah, I know, but I'm not really up against Goliath. I'm up against Goliath and his 4 brothers, but then again, my name is Daniel, and I'm used to being a lion. I always tell people too, you know, freedom is God's plan and slavery is Satan's plan. And I did not fight as a veteran for socialism, Marxism, communism, or any other ism for that matter. I fought for the Constitution of the United States. That is why I'm here. I'm fighting for my family. I'm fighting. I never once packed up my bags. I never thought I was going to leave the state. And nobody ever had to talk me to, you know, stay in the state. I'm here now. I've always, even in the military, I always scored top 2 in my class, and I always came right back here to California. This is my home, and I'm here to fight for it. We are definitely in a spiritual war. This is not just an economic war. This is just not an educational war, political war, economic, none of this. We are in a spiritual war. You don't have to like it, but that is the truth. And so a lot of people say, well, what do you mean by that? And I say, right now the family unit is being destroyed in our country. And so this is why they are attacking where we are most vulnerable. And where are we most vulnerable? Our kids, our children, right? I always tell people, listen, children do not need drag queen reading hour. They need to have their story time to be simple, uncomplicated, from gender confusion. Our children do not need to be taught on oral, anal, or masturbation in school. They need to be taught about loving their neighbor and what it means to be fair-minded. Our children, they definitely don't need to be taught how to use condoms in school by our teachers. They need to be taught about abstinence and self-respect. Our children do not need to be educated on having multiple sexual partners. They need to be taught about the blessings and sanctity of a marriage. And most certainly, our children do not need to know if whether or not their teacher is straight, gay, agender, pangender, gender-neutral, cisgender, demigender, gender-neutral, non-binary, or even a maverick. And I don't know what a maverick is, but it's certainly not Tom Cruise from Top Gun. You are XXXY. That is science for you. Correct me if I'm wrong. The other thing too is listen, as I said, I'm here to offend you, but listen, whatever you do behind closed doors, that's your business. But if you want to be a transgender, why don't you ever want to transgender into a non-binary or an agender or cisgender? It's because they don't exist. And so we are living in an upside down world. If that offends you, good, because that's the truth, and I'm not going to put up with this anymore. So now a lot of people, when we have a lot of candidates that say, well, I'm going to fight for you and I've got a plan for you and here's all these, things and my accolades. I'm not going to sit here and tell you any of this stuff, because the one thing that we keep missing is, how are you going to fight for me? Because I always tell people, we do not have systemic racism in this country. Yes, we have racist people, yes, but systemic racism in this country? No, we have systemic career politicians who like to pour salt on old wounds, keeping the people divided. That's what we have. So now they say, well, how do they get away with this? Because they like to change the language, to change the perception so that they can pass repugnant legislation to get what they want. I'll give you an example. They don't call it prison or jail. What do they call it? They call it correctional facility. They don't call it gun control, they call it gun violence prevention. They don't call it infringement on your Second Amendment. Well, they call it banning assault weapons. Well, please name me one weapon that was not designed to assault. They were all designed to assault, right? They don't call it kids in cages, they call it migrant facilities. They don't say drug abuse, they say substance abuse disorder. They don't call it pedophile anymore, they say MAPS, minor attracted persons. They're not gonna call you can't even say gay community anymore. You have to see LGBTQI2SSIAA plus community. That's what you have to say nowadays. This is where we're at right now, because they changed the language to change that perception. So I always say, how many people in this room right now read the California State Constitution? Raise your hand. Good. 2 or 3 people. Do you study it? How many people read the Constitution of the United States and study it? If you're a candidate, you need to know it, because this is what they're exploiting. This is where the problems are coming from. And here's what I'm going to do. As a governor, it doesn't matter what you want to talk about when we have a supermajority, homelessness, education, or anything else. Why doesn't that matter? Because with a supermajority who is twisting the laws because you don't know the laws, you're ignorant to the laws. They know this, they twist it, they change the language, and now they get away with it. And then you go, well, how are you going to bring people to the table? I'm not. Here's what I'm going to do as a governor, because this is where the core problem is. When you're in the Navy, they said find the core problem because lives depend on it. Here's where it's at. When you swear the oath, you swear to defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We have domestic enemies right now. If I do my homework and I look at the California Government Code, Article 4, Section 1369, I'm giving you a little education on here so you understand that if you vote for me, this is what you're going to get. That if they engage in otherwise advocate for the overthrow of the government of the United States by force, violence, or other unlawful means, then that is a felony and punishable by imprisonment. That's already been determined. When you pass repugnant legislation that is not in agreement with the supreme law of the land, you violated your oath, you therefore are all witnesses to that, and they therefore can see the inside of a prison wall. This is what you're going to get with me when it comes to a supermajority who will not listen to a governor that is a Republican. It doesn't matter if they're nonpartisan. They don't have to listen to them because they're a supermajority. So then you need somebody who understands the game. I understand their game because they do one thing. They follow their own rules. You just don't know their rules. And in doing so, you also have to look at American Jurisprudence, Section 98, Book 16. It's already been determined that no emergency, no clause can shut down the Constitution under any circumstances or emergency. COVID-19 was emergency. Every single one of them shut us down. That means they all violated their oath. If I know this, they know this. If you want a governor that's going to tell you sweet nothings, don't vote for me. If you want someone that's going to sit there and tell you what you want to hear, don't vote for me. I'm not here for this. I am here to bring fire and brimstone upon the people who have turned their backs on their constituents. That's why I'm running. I've been at this for 3 years. And when I was on the recall, I had people call me and tell me, Daniel, look at the voting machine. Your name is not here. I have evidence of this. Well, what does it matter? This is what's happening here in our state. And people say, well, how are you going to bring people to the table? I'm not. They have violated their oath. And where there are 2 or more under U.S. Section Code 2381, engaging in overt act, when you rewrite a repugnant legislation that's not in agreement, then you then engaged in felony treason under that code. Which is why you don't want to run the state like a business, and I'm sorry, I know that you said I could be a businessman and run it. That is the most ignorant thing that any candidate can say. Here's why. Under the 1986 Vaccine Injury Act, and I'll try to summarize with this because I know I'm running out of time. What did they do? That gave immunity to the pharmaceutical companies. And then what did that do? It violated the 14th Amendment because it gave immunity to them, which means they had no reason to have any proof of efficacy behind their product. And yet the people had to pay on that, which means the money goes into a trust that we pay on to the Office of Special Masters. That then if you get injured by this, under the pharmaceutical companies, we pay on their injury And that is a guaranteed contract run like a business that we have to keep making on, even though it was made in bad faith, under the clause of Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution, that no states can come up with a law to prevent the obligation of a contract. That means it doesn't matter if the contract is unconstitutional, it has to be fulfilled. Your judges are going to take the Constitution and throw it out. It does not apply under the contract clause. So what am I going to do as a governor? I'm going to end with this. As a governor, remember I said, I'm not going to sit here and fight for your civil rights. I'm going to reclassify the state out from civil, meaning contract, back under common law. Because we know these things to be self-evident. We are endowed by the Creator. Number 2, I'm going to end the state of emergency. 3, I'm going to fire and arrest the health director. Number 4, I'm going to shut down, investigate, and seize fiscal assets of the California Health Department. And number 5, I'm going to disband the California Health Department Police Department, the new Gestapo. And then I'm going to remove all 10 out of the 12 appointed California Medical Board members that were by Gavin Newsom for coercion, malpractice, public endangerment, child abuse, and medical propaganda. This is what you're going to get with me as your governor. You will not find another governor that is going to sit there and tell you, I'm going to imprison these people. Prison is the solution. Nothing less will do. My name is Daniel Mercuri. Please lend me your vote. Thank you so much.